Toby Allen, how you doing?
Thanks for having me.
We start laughing for straight away.
Because I know what's coming.
Welcome to Tasty Humans. Thank you very much for coming on. I'm very glad you're here. 'Cause you're a very intelligent man. Now, I did have a load of notes about where to start, a trip down memory lane, music and everything like this, but we actually met downstairs. And we were having a pre-meeting meeting, as you do, and you were sending an email. And part of that email was, this might seem controversial. So I actually wanted to ask, I think the best place to start is, what are you doing right now? And what is the content of this email, if you'd like to share that with us?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. We go back a long time and always have entertaining chats. So I'm Toby. I'm actually a director of media and content ingestion for a tech company in charge of media and PR, which will come to light, and also their music. And also I founded Ma'ana, which means together in Arabic, which started off as a music PR agency about 5 years ago, but has developed over time into a music growth agency. So I help musicians scale their music careers and teaching them various ways to do that.
Okay, good.
So that's what I do. Mm-hmm. I'm also a dad of twins. God help me.
Having a lot of fun with them, I hear.
Yeah. I mean, they're beautiful, but as I said, sometimes feral. Love them to bits, but they can be quite challenging, especially as someone of my latter years. But no, beautiful. I've got a boy and a girl. And I'm very grateful for that. And I love triathlon. So those are my 4 key pillars, I suppose, in life. Mm-hmm. Getting to the email, and because I was rushed, I noticed that there's a spelling mistake in my header, which after I've sent it out. But anyway, I'll blame you for that.
Why? I told you I got expelled from English literature when I was 15. I didn't have my glasses on, and you're asking me to proofread your email. I mean, you make your bed. Do you know what I mean?
Fair point, but it makes it more human, so it's okay. Controversial, yes. I have various views, and I'm a strong believer that you're allowed views if you can justify it or verify it or quantify it in your own understanding.
100%.
And there's many ways to the nightclub, as we say, not the bus station. And so I've been in this game 30 years, music, and we can touch point on all the different aspects. Had some great times, learnt many times along the way from not doing it right. And so over the last 5 years since I've been in Dubai and developed Ma'ana, we've done 200 PR and marketing campaigns, and coupled that with my knowledge or limited knowledge or perceived knowledge of what I know and understand in this industry, I believe that the system or the modern current growth model for musicians is broken.
Okay.
Or it's not set up, the way I word it, it's not set up for the newbie or the artist or performer that is lower in the popularity charts.
So has it become broken? Or, so as in, was it set up in a way that it did facilitate young growth in an efficient manner, and it has become broken due to certain reasons? Or has it always been broken, and since you've got more and more involved on that side of the business, you've realized this and are trying to fix it?
I think it's always been challenged, but the more knowledge that I've gained, it's become more apparent. So if you look back in time, I don't know enough about historical data with the platforms that I talk about, but there are statistics now. And if you look back right from the get-go, let's talk about streaming rates.
Okay.
Streaming rates have always been not right. Now, there's many arguments, there's much information out there. There's many panels, there's many discussions about what's right and what's wrong about streaming. But if you look at the core data about streaming for artists, and even more apparent, and this is what I'm going to get to, even more apparent, I look after Middle East and North African artists, whether they're global based or based in the MENA region. I come from that angle. So if you, just a simple statistic of why I say it's not broken. So there's two sides to it. So let's rewind a little. The current music model, generically, I'm not saying not everyone uses it, but generically, you create music. Pillar one. You then post it on social media with a link in bio.
Yeah.
Listen to my new song, out now. That's it. And then it's sent to one of the streaming sites. Now, I'm not here to bash the streaming sites. I'm not here to bash social media. As I said in the lift up here, I feel that it's just, I'm trying to be a thought provoker. I'm very careful with saying you must, need, or should. As I mentioned, I think that's egotistical and it also sets you up. I'm just sharing other ways and opening eyes for other marketing methods and frameworks and systems that musicians can use to grow their music career better, or even get a basic return on their investment, whether that's time, effort, or financial.
So what are the current returns on the platform?
Okay, so there's statistics side, which I take off the internet and much research, but then there's also just the facts. So streaming returns for artists, let's look at social media first, because that's the first part in the pillar. And I think using social media, there's various pinpoints. You don't own the data. You're on rented land. They are businesses that want you to pay more money to stay on their platform. Algorithms are favored. There's an Instagram update. This is changing, hopefully. But in general, algorithms, you're fighting their algorithms.
Well, how are you fighting them? Like
you're in the ball of you post something, it's up to them who sees it. You're fighting their algorithms. You're not in control of it.
And what are their algorithms? Because for transparency, I know nothing about this. I
know
have 220 followers on Instagram, and most of them are useless.
Let me get to a stat on that.
Yeah.
So there is proven, if you take loads of stats from different Dr. Google, so to speak, there seems to be a circle. So less than 2% of organic growth. So if you post something and you have 1,000 followers, you post something, the average, and it varies on different platforms, would be around 2%.
Okay.
They say, I read one the other day, Facebook 4%, whatever. So that's 40 people, 20 to 40 people seeing your post about your music.
Why is that?
That I can't tell you.
Is that because just the sheer volume of content globally onto the platforms being uploaded by all of us random people in the world is just too difficult to disperse in a way that's effective?
I've got a couple of, one, going back to, they want you to pay to get more eyes and ears on your music. Secondly, there's a caveat to this. I'm not specifically experts in every single pillar that I teach. I am an overall process. That's the way I look at it. So I can show you, and I know enough to show that it doesn't work, but specific on social media. I have a lovely team, and there's various guys that are more expert. Graham Farmer is one guy that specializes in social media for musicians in the UK, and an absolute full of knowledge. But I do know that the organic rates, they're built so that you pay more for ads to get more eyes and ears on that platform. That's why it went into a paid model.
And are the ads value for money, or are you paying?
Yes.
Or are you paying? You know, how do the ads work then? Yeah, that's the best question to actually ask, because again, I genuinely don't know.
Okay, so ads, the premise of ads is just to get more eyes and ears quicker to lookalike audiences or to your followers. It's just a paid means to get more eyes, but you're paying for that. And it's a whole different learning process as well. It's a whole different game to learn specifically about ads. If I can just go back to the social media, the conversation ends. Now with marketing, and I think anyone in marketing would say, you want to continue conversation and nurturing relationships. And I think using the current model of just sending it to a DSP, digital sales platforms, with one of the major streaming sites, all the streaming sites, there's about 142 major ones around the world, I believe, at the moment. You send them there, and then the conversation stops. So all these factors, by using social media as your sole purpose to promote, those are various reasons why that's a challenge. That's why it's on that pillar. Then you go on to how getting back to, so there's going to be a lot of looping back here. So you're moving from social media, and then you're moving over to sending that link in bio to a streaming site. Now, again, I really don't want to bash any streaming site. I just want to be factual of what the returns are.
Yeah. This is not a. It's
Again,
not a,
because
yeah,
I work with them.
I can definitely sense your diplomacy. Do you know what I mean? And it's not about bashing people. It's about exposing the realities, because I think that when it comes to, sorry, just very quickly, when it comes to producing music, okay, up until the recent developments in AI, this is a very, very, very time-consuming process. Even if you're playing instruments, or even if you're using Logic Pro or Ableton or stuff like this, and you want to produce dance music or electronic music, it's a very, very arduous process. And it's just about going through that, like I say, a long time-consuming process, and then getting very excited at the end of it that you've got something that you feel very passionate about. Now you're trying to take it to the people, and here we are. So it's not about...
And you spend a year on albums. Okay, let's just quickly get albums.
Exactly.
You spend 8 tracks. Now, I always advise, when you're starting out, don't do an album, because if you're releasing a track on average every 4 to 8 weeks, you've got over a year's worth of marketing content over 8 tracks to then build your thing. So, but you spend all that time on EPs, all that time on music. You're up at 4 o'clock on Ableton. And then you've got to go to do your work at 8 o'clock, and then you send it out only using social media, and it flops. Yeah, how disheartened. And I get it, because we've all been there. And all this learning is also because of all the failures that I've been through.
Well, yeah, because you've been through it start to finish.
Record labels, 30 on Bootleg Social. I've done 6 albums. Yeah. I've looked after over 100 artists. We've done 200 separate PR and marketing campaigns. There's a little bit of foundational knowledge.
There's a lot of experience. I wouldn't sell yourself short. There's a ton of experience in many different countries, and you've gone through the whole process from start to finish. So yeah, to circle back to what you were saying, it's that when it gets to the streaming platform, which, I can say this because I'm always on the fence about whether they're good things or bad things. I don't know whether Spotify has helped. It's definitely helped take the music to the people, but has it had a massive knock on to the artists? I genuinely don't know.
Okay, so let me give you facts or data that is apparent on the big wide web, and I'm not making things up. I'm just taking what's available for public use. So the last that I saw was 120,000 tracks are released every day, and that's without AI. The
AI we'll get to. Yeah, AI is a whole new thing.
And so and that was, I think, at the beginning of the year, last year, on Music Business Worldwide, a very trustworthy center of data and news. So then you've got 120,000 tracks per day, and then you've got, let's look at the rates that you get. So I've got some interesting facts. So let's just say the way Spotify. Again, I don't want to. I'm careful about Spotify, but the way that there are 4 different ways, and I don't want to get into that, but where you are, different locations, how many premium subscribers have subscribed to your stream. There are some sub parameters that it takes, but in essence, an overview. There are certain figures per stream, and it's not. There are ranges, but let's just give certain streaming rates. Yeah. Now it changes to location. So if you had 1 million streams in the UK, it's the #1 paying, to date to my knowledge, in dollars, if you got 1 million streams only in the UK, you get $5,500. All right. If you go in the States, which is the benchmark, it's $3,600. Now, remember, you've got to split all these as well with labels. It depends, or independent, or with 30% to
and
your
$1 million
distributor.
Is a lot.
Right. So bear that in mind. How many
It's-
of you have seen people with 1 million streams when you're on Spotify? Okay. So now you think about why people are making music. Now, some might want to make music just for the love of it and got a daytime job. Amazing. That's awesome. Most artists would like to make a return at least, or become a full-time musician. Again, I'm being generic here.
Yeah, but they like to get paid for it. They
Want to
like
get a
to, they like to
return.
do
I
it
would say so.
full-time,
From what I can only go by my surveys and my lists and my the followers in the Mana communities. Most people want to make a return at least. So now, 1 million streams. Now remember, we're based in the MENA region. So now getting back to that algorithmic stuff and sort of, not algorithmic, but those parameters, those sub-parameters. If you got 1 million streams and you're in Egypt, guess how many dollars, if all your 1 million streams were in Egypt, how many you would get for 1 million streams?
I'm assuming much less than the UK.
$900.
Okay. Yeah, that's hectic.
It's about $1,500 if you're in the UAE. $1,200 to $1,500 from what I see. Okay.
So a question would be, is this, as an emerging artist, now with these platforms, is this where they believe the best opportunities are to get exposure and get the returns? So are they focused in on this, which is, I'm making music, I'm passionate about it, and I've got to get it on Spotify or any of the other streaming platforms?
There's various ways of looking at it, and again, I can't speak for Spotify.
Fair enough. It's just that and Apple Music are the two that I know. You said 150.
And Garmi as well for this region, and Garmi for the Arab.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. So
Arab-centric.
I'm just sort of.
They're very good with some of those are
I know.
very good supporting with local, some not so much. But that's an internal decision that they make, and again, I won't judge on that. All it is, so MENA region now first. There's a report called the IPI report, which is a global music report. It comes out yearly, and I can't forgive me if it was last year or the year before. It was only MENA region was the only time it appeared. It was the first time it appeared. If you looked at all the reports when we first got here, and we were looking at the MENA region wasn't even coloured out. It wasn't even a stat, and that's just started coming up. And now I believe it's the second fastest growth regional around the world. But is that still giving a return to artists? Day to day, on the ground, on the coalface, artists are not making money that I am interacting with. So this is why we moved on to trying to adapt, educate, share another system. So that was just getting back to so you got the challenges of social media.
Yeah.
Then you've got challenges of the DSPs. Now, if again, this is another 134 million tracks in 2023 got 0 plays.
Yeah, I just thought as we're having the
year.
conversation, it must be very difficult for streaming platforms to try to figure out how to create their business model because of the level and the amount of content. You can't just pay everyone $1 per stream, which may sound like
because
a little.
You go
because
from
with
the
134 million,
you've got to
exactly.
pay out share of what's coming in. So
100%.
their whole premise is to try and increase subscribers. I'm hoping that transfers into more payment costs. But if you look at it on a more holistic level, there's just, how do you stand out?
Yes. Yeah. This was what
120,000. How do you stand out?
Yeah.
So brand, your story takes preference over music. Your content takes preference over your music, in my opinion.
Yeah,
story about who you are, what you're about, what you're standing for, who's in your content.
Do you know what? Definitely pre-social media, as what we would refer to as back in the day. Do you know what I mean? Pre-social media, pre-mobile phone, you heard the music first because you'd only got that through the radio, the television, Top of the Pops, the chart show, stuff like this, and go buy some vinyl, get records and tapes, etc., etc. And you'd hear the music and you go, wow, who's that? and then you would try to discover who it was, and then you'd be down at the record store trying to find it. Then you'd see them on the back, and then whatever you're actually on the back of the CD or the vinyl or whatever, and then only through that would you learn who they were. Now it's all part of an entire package, you know, and the more honest they are, the better. But yeah, it's a whole different delivery system now.
Oh, totally. And it's just trying to adapt to the times. Like what worked back then and what works now, and it will grow. So what works now? And getting back to this social media, look, the challenges of TikTok in the US. I didn't even realize this till literally 2 weeks ago that TikTok was banned in India. You know, I just, you know.
Well, there's some very controversial opinions about TikTok, and
it's a platform that is used, and a very good platform to used. And some, I want to, again, what I've said, the premise, some people are doing this very, very well. But the amount
who are trying.
There was this gentleman called Aris Take, and I saw a great graph that I think out of 253,000 new or emerging artists, only 25,000 made 50 grand or something a year as a full-time musician. So if you use $50,000 as a wage to become a full-time musician, when you've got rent, you've got food, you've got 50 grand. There was only 26,000 on Spotify that were able to live 50 grand.
Yeah,
or something.
I mean, obviously we're here in Dubai.
When you're thinking about
200,000 dirhams,
and then when you're going back to 120,000 tracks released a day.
Yeah.
So there's all this data that just made me think, and all these stats and all this sort of personal experience to just try and teach or educate or share a suggested other way.
One thing I want to say is, thank you very much for navigating what you've just said, because I could see how tricky that was given you know, what you do for a living. So, you know, I really appreciate that and you sharing that, because I think it's really interesting to hear what it's like on the inside. You know, for me, I just put Spotify on, listen to music, and I don't really care what happens past that. So moving into something probably easier for you then, like what are you sort of selling to your team and the artists you work with, of how they can actually improve, and what do you think interesting more strategies can be?
So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
It's taught.
Which is good, because the wheels, they work.
The wheel works.
The wheel works.
So we just use basic marketing funnel system: attention, interest, desire, action, AIDA model. Create content, get attention to the content, capture the attention on email marketing, an email list.
So what do you think is good content?
Short form video, it is proven now. Again,
because TikTok.
I'm just standing on the shoulders of others. I'm not here to reinvent.
No, it's all right. I don't think you have to be diplomatic about these sort of things. What do you think?
Short form content.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, you know, these. We had a great discussion, actually. I've got an inner circle on WhatsApp. Some real go-getters, some great ladies from around the world at the moment. I mean, I just said to them, so the average music video getting onto content is about $5,000.
To create.
It can be like 3,000, 2,000, like on an iPhone, or I asked a survey of a few artists within my group on guys that done music videos, and they all came around $5,000. Now think about the streaming rates and the return rates, and YouTube has a different rates, and it's same old. But just, I was like, is it investment to you? And they said, we invest in it for brand awareness and to hopefully get gigs in the future. So a lot of people are using social media now and understanding its brand awareness and to get other things from it. So I'm not saying don't use social media to promote your music, but what are you doing with those fans? You're not. Where are you taking them? How do you get? We've heard this term, super fans, loyal fans. What is tribe? Where are you moving them down? So from, you know, you're creating the attention and short form video. Like you can do a music video, just taking 15, 30 seconds.
This is where phones have benefited.
Yes. So
this is music videos a long time ago were thousands and thousands of pounds, because it had to be a crew.
Yeah. So I'm now separating music video to short form content, short form video. So short form video, things like Reels, Shorts, and TikTok Reels. Creating a plan and a strategy to drip feed short form video. So you can say, go out 3 hours, find 3 different venues, sing 4 or 5 different parts of the song, test which one works. Not always the chorus works. In different locations, different times of the day, wearing different clothes. Simple A and B marketing testing.
Yeah.
And then use that as content to say, if you want to get early access to my next album, go to this page. Instead of link on bio, go to a website, a landing page. Give them an offer. And so instead of like, just give me your email address and sign up to my newsletter, let's be honest with you. Is it boring? How many newsletters do you sign up for?
Do you know what the thing is? It's more like, how many newsletters do you actually read? You know, because you end up, people's email addresses are being sold as data, and you suddenly start getting bombarded with all types of stuff. And all of us think the same thing, which is, where did this come from? And when this has been it happens to all of us now, where you open up your email and there's just all this random stuff. I can't swear, so there's all this random stuff, and people are just doing. I do it like mass deletion, and then what you've got in there is probably somebody who's really trying to stand out.
Yeah,
but.
So the key to this is you've created your attention short form video. You're trying to you're capturing that through the social media. Now you need to capture that email person to give them something personal, give them an experience, nurture them, have a chat with them with all the things that you have in control. So the ways of doing that is giving extreme value on the sign up box. So if you look to many, and generally 99% of sign-up offers are just sign up for more news and info. It's not worth it. So I learned something through Russell Brunson and about giving 10 times value. So if something's worth $10, give $100 away. So the what's working with the artists which are signing up, and I know Lena started it literally a couple of weeks ago, went through all her list, and she's got 200 emails. People that really want to. She just goes...
Lena?
I'm not going to...
okay.
An artist.
Sorry. Oh, an artist. Okay,
an
cool,
artist.
cool. Yeah, okay.
I won't say the full name, just out of respect to her. So it was sign up, get my whole back catalogue of all my music, early access, and a free modern download. So it was a bundle. When you sign up on the automated email addresses, the first thing, instead of welcome to, here's my story, and there's various ways of nurturing, and I'm not going to go too much into a marketing lesson on this podcast. But then when they land, also give something else.
So it's a constantly,
but at no cost to your own, because you're giving away a back catalogue. Who's going to buy that on streaming on satellites and the rates that you get? So it's on your file system, and a personalized video saying, "Can't wait, thank you so much for joining." All these little tricks and hacks and things. You're going to stand out from all the other spam. Because you've already invested, you've given something, you get personalized messages and things, and then you nurture those, and then you're creating offers and bundles. And I'm very much into e-commerce and creating other revenues for artists.
Which could be considered
gigs,
as...
your albums. We're doing 2 products at the moment where the artist, one is an artist. So we created a Shopify store with her art and adding music to the story.
Okay, that's cool.
Another one doing jewelry, because I didn't even know. So they're creating, and then you amalgamate various ways of creating offers on that. That's just an example. But don't stop relying on Spotify.
No,
it's
but
just
make
creating
it part
other
of
revenues.
a much
how
bigger
to get
picture.
More gigs.
Yeah,
We spoke about this.
We did speak about this.
How to get more
gigs.
gigs.
So how difficult is it now for people to get gigs, and especially as DJs? And I know we spoke about this. It's kind of like the reverse question now, which is more like, what do you? Because I was going to say, what do you think is the way to stand out? Like, I know you asked me this question and I answered, but it's like, how hard is it for DJs now to get gigs? Because the fact that technology means that, I don't want to say anyone can be a DJ, because somebody we both know, Lee Whittle, Soul Shakers. Remember Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how we met, through Lee.
Yeah.
Which is, Lee said something to me when I used to work with him, so it was brilliant, which is, anyone can learn how to mix music, but not everyone can be a DJ, which I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
But so, like I say, how difficult is it for your artists to get gigs, and what are they kind of running into as
there's various ways of looking at this. Now, if you're just pinging out emails to cold emails and not getting a response, which a lot of people are asking, I look back from experience and know how I got.
And how was that?
How I got gigs was showing up face to face, and it was funny you said about being human.
How long ago was this, for to get context into this?
Okay, so I was DJing till up to about 5 or 6 years ago, and that would have been 25 years worth of DJing. And I started I started learning to DJ when I was 17.
And what got you into that? It's my favourite question for DJs. What was the moment where you went, I want to do this?
Let's just say I came from
let's just say
I came from a place that going to a nightclub was a happier environment than going down my local pub.
I come from a similar place.
And my mum asked me this question very early on and goes, why do you do all this? And I was like, well, I'll get a stool over my head outside the local kebab shop, or I can dance until 6 a.m. around people that are happy now, whether that's fake or not, who knows, that's another conversation. But it's just, I could go out for longer and be around a happier environment. That took me away from
a less happy environment.
A less happier environment. And that's why I originally got into music. And I was in Ibiza in 1991.
I actually think that there is almost a phrase that encompasses that entire era, because I think that there was this explosion of going out, dancing, enjoying yourselves with like-minded individuals. But what was going on coming out the late 80s was hooliganism, especially in the UK, hooliganism, violence, fighting. I remember people saying that the rave era ended football hooliganism, which is actually very true when you look back at it. So, yeah, 100%. It's a very good way of phrasing it.
And just DJ. Yeah, I've been very fortunate to DJ in some.
But what got you into it? What was the moment where you were like, yeah, I want to be a DJ? And how? Because that would have been vinyl.
I was in clubs.
Yeah.
Typical looking at DJ boxes. With clubs like Gardening Club.
Yeah, I've been to the Gardening
Club for Life on the Saturdays. That was my first club. Club UK.
So very central London stuff.
Well, Club UK was Wandsworth. I used to go to the garage room at Innocence in Peckham with my two mates, Rich and Dan. We used to often go there. There was normally a sort of circle of different types of clubs. Never went to the Ministries or the Pashas at that time. We were early 90s here.
Yeah, well, Pasha was the SW1 club.
Yeah.
And I know that from a very rare experience I had in there.
Yeah. So just going back there, and then obviously going to Ibiza in 91, 92 and 94. No, 91, 93 and 94. It helped that my best friend, Dan, his late brother, was a DJ and had access to Pete Wardman on Kiss, and so there was sort of, you got that dangling on the carrot of meeting with people that you idolized and wanted to be like and hung around with, and got the guest list. The other Richard was a manager, was a PR manager at Vera Positiva, I think it was, an RCA record, Sony.
And when a guest list was a guest list, which was very difficult to get on, and there was like 20 of you, and that was it, until people started to introduce paying guest lists, which was just... and that actually ruined the guest list.
Yeah. I mean? So we used to go to Leisure Lounge, Peach. God, blimey, you're giving me proper memories. And so all that sort of environment when I was it was, to be fair, actually, there was some context to this, and I'll just share quickly a story. I was very privileged to go to private school in the UK, but sport was my access to that. And my mum believed that she was doing the right thing. And at 16, I was actually given a choice financially. She goes, I'm not quite sure I can do the last 2 years. So I went from in order to survive the last year of private school, I actually had to become, I was 15 years old, pretending I was 16, working late nights in Chicken George on the bridge in Tunbridge.
Yeah. And
the guys from my private school used to come in and mock me. So in the end, then she said, I don't know if I can afford it anymore. We've had a good run. Do you want it? And I wasn't really. I was 16, 17, because I'm old for my age. And I was just given the option. So I went to the local, and there's nothing wrong with the local college. But I was still working where I met my two best friends to this day. They accepted me for who I was and not for where I was at school. And we met at Sainsbury's in pushing trolleys on a Tuesday, Monday, Thursday night during the day on the weekend to get the money to go clubbing. So that's how it all started. And I found an acceptance from something I'd always tried to be a part of ever since I was 7, when I got sent to boarding school. And I finally found clubbing as sort of an escape to all that, but with 2 people that actually just wanted to just have a chat and have fun with me.
So you found
I found a way.
You found like a home. Almost.
In essence, yeah. And that's taken me to where I am now 30 years later today.
So what was it like being a career DJ? Because, everyone thinks it's really cool, but there's obviously a side to it. I mean, what countries have you done it in? Like,
I've been very fortunate to play in Ibiza. I've been very fortunate to take people to Ibiza. The 100 we took one day, 100 label fans, Bootleg Social lot to Ibiza.
Wow. I bet that was carnage.
It was 5 years of carnage. Very fortunate to a good friend, Damien Gelly, who was one of the founders for SW4 Festival.
Okay.
So he got me playing at Ali Pali with Eric Pritz closing there. I've done Ministry, venue. I've done Brixton Academy. So it was cross-promotional DJing. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to where I've been playing. Played at Cream.
What, Liverpool? Or?
No, in Ibiza.
Oh, okay.
So very fortunate there. Done Ministry for 5 years at various rooms. Never made the main room. Never did bar, but still. I've been DJing in South Africa for 10 years when I lived there. Owned a nightclub. Apparently it was the first super club. There was five reprobates, all British, that opened up first super club 1999 to 2001.
What was it called?
Unity. And it was absolute carnage.
Where were you doing that? Because I went to South Africa at the end of 1999 and I went to an event called Mother.
Yeah, that was Peter White. So
and
Peter,
that was in Johannesburg in a train station. I've never been so scared driving somewhere in my life, and so I had such a brilliant night when we actually got in there.
Big parties. Peter used to hold some very big parties there, and also in Cape Town. The guys, Jonathan, Matthew, and Chavda, we used to do Farside parties in the 90s. Very fortunate to play there. I had our own clubs. I also diversed, actually, from playing hard dance and club music to funky house music, it was at the time. And I was always asked why I did that. It's like, because I wanted to see girls in high heels, not trainers. That was the genuine answer.
Fair enough.
So I had both sides to it. So I had the dark and grimy clubs, which I loved, and still to this day, I like to be occasionally in an environment like that.
And what made you then step away from it? Like
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Just priorities. I made a decision to better my life when I was 39, become more healthy, but more spiritual, mindset, a lot more personal growth. Because you said, how was it? It was 25 years of fun. I would never change it. It was just, I wouldn't change the world from it because I grew as a person. I've seen things that you talk about it and you're talking absolute BS, movie stuff in South Africa. But I learned, stuff that a middle-class schoolboy from Kent shouldn't really be saying, but and then learning from all that, learning to stand on 2 feet, being an expat, not being able to run home all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just being able to I left when I was 21.
Yeah.
I left England when I was 21, and I'm now 50 this year. And I've had a stint of 6-7 years when I met you in between.
Yeah.
But I've sort of lost my train of thought. But I just the growth as a person, and why did I stop? There we go.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you, Dubai wasn't giving me what I wanted.
In what sense?
Just on the environment of what it just wasn't for me. Maybe I'm older. Maybe the environment. I've been to a few nights. The value of what you get when you're out here. It's a personal choice. It's nothing.
Value in value in what way?
Quality of environment, cost of drinks, quality of DJs. Just listening to the same old music in my eyes that I couldn't hear.
Well, I think when did I come out in 2015, and you were here, or you came out very shortly after?
2014.
Yeah. Because I remember going in, taking over at 360, and then you rocked up on the doorstep, and I was like, "Dude, man, how are you?"
Yeah.
And I think, so I think that time you were still.
I was playing.
Yeah,
I was playing with like Mike
and
things, and I was doing my own parties with partner. But I probably just got a little bit bored.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I found Ironman. I found triathlon. And there's context
How
again.
do you? Sorry, I have to say. So how do you find triathlon? You know, it's not like. I mean, that did you turn around to yourself and think, right? You know, I'm getting on in life. I'm hitting 40, and then like we all do, you have a bit of this kind of midlife health crisis. So you just went, I need to do triathlons. Was it like this?
To be
did you
honest
just try
with you,
to pick the hardest thing you tried to do?
Very good point. So 39, I see life was reinvented. Mm-hmm. I made a decision that I wanted to change certain things. And I've always been an extreme, but always all in. And doubters fuel me. Mm-hmm. Bad comments fuel me, just the way I am. And I've put myself into some unfortunate situations, whether it be relationships with friends and things, and I hold my hands up. But it was just like, now watch me now, just a personal. So my last 10 years, I've tried to be the best person I can to, one, not only make myself proud, I found peace, know that I could have done it when I was younger, but I didn't, but I chose, it's never too late.
Yeah.
Just so I, also forgiving my father on certain things. And so when he passed away, that was all right. Jeez, I'm welling up.
And but did you? No.
So
No. Go on.
So
Sorry. Go on.
I made my father proud, even though I took offence to certain things that how he acted. Mm-hmm. But when he went, it was peaceful and it was cool, and I was there. Showing all the effort that my mum put in, that certain things. So I went away and I was just like, right, I've been told I couldn't do a degree. I couldn't do anything without a degree. Mm-hmm. So I went and got a master's without a degree. And I was like, how was that? So I ended up being a cricket coach because I used to play hockey.
Yeah.
So I walked into ICC in my first year and I said, I want to be a cricket coach. Started off being an armchair supporter and in the end worked out and got to a position of coaching the UAE national under 16 as an assistant coach and free of charge under 19 to their World Cup. And from there, I was able to get my level 3 badges, which then to Stirling University was able to accept me that my level of knowledge was the same as the degree. So I was able to get my master's.
Okay.
My same process was like, okay, so how do I prove that I can do the extreme sport? Well, what's the most extreme sport that I found was Ironman. Started off with the baby steps and went through the process and completed Ironman in South Africa about 4 years ago. So I've always tried to just do things the best I can of ability. And
how long did it take you to get Ironman ready?
6 months.
Wow, I nearly swore. So you went from
nothing to 6 months training. I dabbled. I was always a little bit sporty.
Yeah, so you had a level of fitness, but being a DJ for 25 years is going to combat that for sure.
Yeah,
but so in the triathlon, what was the structure? The swimming.
Swimming is
the swimming, the cycling, the running. But what were the lengths? What was the distance?
Okay, so swimming, you swim 3.8 kilometers.
Okay.
Then you get off and you do a bike for 180 kilometers, and then you go and run a marathon. Now, don't get me wrong.
I'm sorry.
But I would like to make a caveat. I don't do it for the race. The race is like the reward. The process.
But 6 months?
The process of training. So I do it now.
Where were you 6 months? In that, on day one, like, what happened? Day one?
I couldn't quite tell you, but I was able to join a community. That's what, community of the triathlon, the Tri-Dubai group.
No, but how far could you run? Like, for instance.
5K.
So you could do 5K and it's game over. And then 6 months later, you're doing a marathon.
I'm very fortunate I don't carry much weight. As you can see, I'm a bit of a lanky giraffe. But just internal fitness wasn't always better. And also, I was always worried about what I've done inside, just with lifestyle. But so just started off with the process. And it's the whole... Because I coach cricket and sport, I'm at an advantage. I've learned to various things that as a coach, and so I can practice what I've taught, what I teach, and especially 1% process, daily habits. They compound effect.
Yeah.
They just make a difference. Could you so you start off small and you just, what am I doing today to do 1% closer to my goal? And that's the same whether it be Ironman, whether it be the business, whether it be spirituality, whether it be relationship with my wife and my kids. I try and implement that each day. And that's very much a great book about a month ago that I've started implementing about the 3 alarms. Forgive me, I can't remember the guy's name. But between 5 and 8, I'm the world's best dad. Okay. And then my alarm goes off on my phone to be the best dad you can, because I'm present. It doesn't always work, again, but it's trying to. My alarm for 3 hours is be the best dad. And then the alarm at 9 o'clock is be the best server that you can to others. And that is through educating through my business and being part of a great company and giving the best I can within the parameters I've got till 5 o'clock. And then my alarm goes, you're in training mode, be the best athlete. And so I have 3 alarms per day, just reminding me to be the best person I can.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So I actually have alarms that tell me what to be.
There's one going off soon. Let's get out of this room. So one thing, because look, this has been a remarkable conversation. Obviously, we've known each other a long time, and I really appreciate the kind of honesty and the depth to what you've been saying. It's great. One thing I think sort of to close on would be where you've just said about giving everything to your company and everything. Now, you work with local artists.
Yes.
You know, your company is derived around pushing you know, the local people of Dubai and people like that. Like you say, I can never remember how to... Mana. Sorry, this is why I say, because I always struggle with that pronunciation.
I probably butchered Arabic there, but just for context as well, my wife is a British Arab, so I'm in an Arab culture, and I do understand. But so I think it's an ain. The comma to you and I in English, the comma is an ain.
Right.
So that's why it makes it the mana. So
okay, gotcha.
So that's why. But we write it. It's a back 3 in Arabic when you write, but in English we put a comma.
Okay.
That's why it is what it is. Okay, and it means together or as one, depending on which part of the Arab culture.
What I wanted to ask was, now, I might need to be a bit delicate here, but basically, as with, let's say, the English, let's say, invasion of Spain, as we all know, in certain areas of Spain, Ibiza, Porto Banús and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Now, in Dubai, you know, there is a very strict culture going on. And then Dubai has developed over the last 20, 25 years where the expats have come in and has introduced and brought with them their music, their influences and everything. How do you feel it's been received? And how do the people that you work with in your company, in a positive way, like how have they taken this and adopted it and moved on it and been exposed to new styles of music? Because I actually believe that music is one of the great communications between all of us globally. You know, like it's I have this thing where the best thing about music is you can't control what's happening to you. And it's a very unusual thing, I think, that we as a... going off on a bit of a weird one here, but like as a species, we have created noises that make us react in some of the most craziest ways. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. People have been to gigs and everything like this. So how do you feel that the sort of electronic music culture has been adopted by the local populace of Dubai, and how do they interpret it and put it out in their own way? Does that make sense?
Yes. I don't know if I've got the right answer for you, but what I do know is that I can tell you that trying to promote as the PR service that we have as part of the agency is that electronica is not very big.
Okay.
And it's low to be picked up by journalists, media outlets and things. I would also say that electronica is a global, it's not it's not geo-restricted, meaning it's a global movement. And it doesn't matter if you're Arab, English, French, it's the music around the world. It's more of a global music genre, definitely. Whereas what I have experience in, because I know what works here, is Arab-centric. Okay. So let me quickly, on PR, 3 tiers. Arab singing in Arabic, awesome. An Arab singing in English or Arabic, pretty much just as all right, because there's a story. English or expat singing in English, probably decline it nowadays. And we've declined this week. Not because we don't want to do it, but I can't give you the ROI that you expect.
Okay.
So it's very difficult for expats to get notoriety here. And I've got some views as well, which could be, I've got some views that the level of gigs and what they are they really gigs? You know, so I don't know if you want me to. Basically,
maybe that would be the first question on the next podcast when you come on again. But
you know, like, is that what you really want to be doing? It's a necessary. Is that part of your career growth? Playing at a brunch or playing in restaurants, I just believe your second nature, because I've spoken to F&B managers, that you're booked as background. People don't come to a restaurant or a brunch to see you. You're a filler.
Yeah. You're part of
so
of the
if you're only
picture.
doing that, but you want to go and play a festival, it's not going to help you.
No, but you need to get paid.
That's
do you know what I mean?
It's so like, you're paying for the chicken and egg thing. Totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
You've got to keep it ticking over. But going to go and play at a festival or a massive gig, having brunch on your CV is not going to help you at all. No,
I think you need to differentiate between the corporate and the personal, maybe, you know, the personal growth on that. But that's just, again, that's another conversation. And I know that become a wedding DJ, $5,000, it's here. Do it. But I wouldn't have wedding DJ and that I played at Soho Garden on the same
people
do that. But.
All right, so look, final question to you. I'm going to throw it back at you, which was your final question to me, which is what can DJs do to get noticed? What do you think is the best piece of advice now that DJs can have? Or artists, or anybody, given everything you've said, which has been hugely interesting and very, very knowledgeable. So, like, if you could say one thing to them, one thing, what would it be? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Why are you different?
Because I put you on the spot at the beginning.
Why are you different? Why, how, or why? I say how or why. Like, how are you going to know? If, let's put it this way, Sam, if you've got 50 emails today asking for gigs to be a resident at any one of these venues, you're going to, something that stands out, someone says, I can do this for you, I do this, that is different than the other 49, you're going to take interest.
Yeah.
Whether that's telling you, like you said, understanding, I can understand your thing. I turned up, I put it in, I have bongo players with me, I do this, I can DJ, here's my mixtape, I DJ as skillful as James Hype. Whatever that is, why are you different than the other people? You need to stand out, in my opinion.
100%.
And also know how to communicate on social media. But that's another.
Well, listen, Toby, it's been brilliant in every way. Do you know what I mean? Thank you so much for coming.
I really appreciate you having me. It's been lovely chat. Thank you.